We're from Nanakulio and you're watching
Youth Capital Commentary!
Aloha, my name is Jaylee Kanoy. I'm in the 11th grade attending Nanakuli High and Intermediate School. Today I'm here with Senator Stanley Chang of District 9. Aloha, Senator.
Hi, Jaylee.
Senator, what are your goals for this upcoming legislative session?
My biggest goal is to try to address Hawaii's severe housing shortage. This is not a new problem, but it's only gotten worse, and it got much worse during the pandemic. We have now 7 straight years of population decline because we're just not building enough housing for our young people to live in. Now there are more Native Hawaiians who live outside Hawaii than live in Hawaii, many of whom because they simply can't afford it. And so we have a bunch of proposals to try to address the housing shortage by creating housing specifically for Hawaii residents who would be occupants, either owner or renter occupants, and who own no other real property. So local people that really need the help.
What are some issues in your community you have faced and how do you plan to address them?
There are a couple major issues in the community that, again, are recurring issues that have been with us for a long time. One of them is environmental conservation. So Mauna Lua Bay is probably the defining feature of our district. Unfortunately, over the years, there's been a lot of invasive species, there's been a lot of runoff, and the ecosystem in the bay is really not pristine anymore. So I think that's one issue that we need to address. I think a second issue we need to address is the physical state of the facilities, of the schools that are within the district. You know, when I visit some of the schools in our area, especially some of the older ones that were built back in the 60s and 70s, I'm always it makes me really sad, honestly, because I see peeling paint, I see shattered glass windows, I see rusting metal, and it's just not a good learning environment for a lot of our students, and it's not a great work environment for the faculty, for the staff. And, you know, I always remember this one story. When I was young, I was in China during the college entrance exam. And on the news, they were showing there was flooding in some province. And the helicopters going around rescuing people. And in America, they might be saying women and children first, or does anyone need medical attention urgently? But in China, they were saying, is anyone taking the college entrance exam? Because those are the people we will rescue first. Because everyone in China knows that they would rather die in a flood than have the next generation give up its chance for an education. And that's really stuck with me all these years.
What are some accomplishments you are most proud of from last session?
So last session, 2022, was actually a really productive session for us. Probably the most productive session that I've been in the legislature for, which dates back 7 years now. And I'm really proud because we kind of set up the framework for the state to do a lot of this housing development for Hawaii residents who would be owner occupants and own no other real property. So the tools are there. Most of the tools are now there in the toolbox for the governor to pick up and start building homes with. And so hopefully we can, we can finish the job now with the new governor and the new administration.
Could you share about some bills that you've introduced to the community?
Sure. So one bill that we've worked on now for 5 years is called Aloha Homes, which stands for Affordable Locally Owned Homes for All. And so it would take existing state-owned lands on the rail stations that are currently being built, and we would build condos, sell them to Hawaii residents who would be owner occupants and own no other real property. And it would be income blind, so there would be no discrimination on the basis of income, as long as you met those criteria. And it would also be available to anybody. It would be revenue neutral as well, so that there would not be a large burden to the taxpayer, which is really, I think, one of the big problems we have with existing housing programs. And if we're able to do this, revenue neutral, income blind housing for all, then I think that would just fundamentally transform Hawaii. I think everyone would then have the chance to live here in the place that we were born and raised. And that would just totally change the social contract of Hawaii, and I really hope that we can bring that to fruition.
So I'm a high school student. I was interested in one of the bills you introduced, SB 133, of the students starting school later at 9 o'clock. Could you share more about that and of the status of it?
Yeah, so that's an issue that's been talked about in a lot of jurisdictions, including in the other 49 states, including abroad. but hasn't really been discussed here in Hawaii, despite the fact that there's a lot of evidence that circadian rhythms of young people around the teenage age is just not the same as those for adults. So while adults may find it easy to wake up for like a 7:30 a.m. school start time, it's just not the same for teenagers. And so the research has shown that if you actually push back the school start time, the students will get more sleep and they will perform better academically. And I think that's just super important. So we need to, I think, study the issue a little bit more, because there is a lot that's going to be affected from school bus schedules, athletics, extracurricular activities. But I think it would really help our students' academic achievement.
I agree. Do you have any last words for your constituents you would like to share?
Yeah, so I guess I would say it's super easy to get involved in the process, and I really want to encourage everyone to do so. So for you folks, all you had to do was call our office, make an appointment to come see me. We often meet with constituents, with people who are experts on various subject matters, but you'd be surprised how few sort of real local constituents will take advantage of this process to make their concerns known to us. And so that can be coming down and making an appointment. It could be scheduling a Zoom meeting, which we're all used to these days. It could be testifying on bills, which you can do in writing or also on Zoom. You don't have to come down to the building and search for parking anymore. So I really hope that more people will get involved in the process.
Mahalo, Senator, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Jaylee Kanoy. I'm in 11th grade attending Nanakuli High and Intermediate School, and today I'm here with Representative Jean Ward from District 18. Aloha, Representative.
Aloha, I thought you were in college. I didn't know you were in 11th grade. My goodness.
Representative, what are your goals for this upcoming legislative session?
I have two priorities, and the first is the Hawaiian issues. Secondly are the ALICE issues. ALICE issues are the asset-limited, income-challenged earners, meaning you're working, but half of our population is on the verge, if not one check away from homelessness. That is, to me, a very big concern, which means I really want to diversify the economy. I want to see us become the Hollywood of the Pacific, the Geneva of the Pacific, the Sports Center of the Pacific, as well as the Space Tourism Center of the Pacific, so people can have a good paying job. We don't have enough size of the economy to meet the needs of our families, and that's sad.
What are some issues in your community you have faced, and how do you plan to address them?
Some issues in my community are really about land use issues. There's farmers who are going to lose their lease in about 18 to 20 months. And that's a huge gap in about 80 acres in our community. And that means also not only the farmers, but the land leases at the Japanese American Institute of Management, James, that's been there for decades, and also the Oahu Club, where people swim and exercise. They're going to have their lease expire in about 3 to 5, about 5 years from now. So that's a big concern, but it's where basically crime is an issue, homelessness is an issue, and the economy in general terms is an issue. So those are three things that we pay attention to.
What are some accomplishments you're most proud of from last session?
If you look out the window, you'll see Iolani Palace. Iolani Palace has, for the first in any royal palace in the world, has parking meters. And for the last 5 to 10 years, I've been putting in a bill that says, hey, take those parking meters off. That's a desecration. That's a disrespect. And for the first time, they're going to pay attention to, and probably within a few months, lift those parking meters and hopefully lift some of the blacktop off. So the only way you can get in is in the front and not in all around this, where visitor parking and bureaucrat parking is not going to be allowable. So I feel that that's a good accomplishment. The other thing is to make sure that, and you can't leave this office without getting the the study that my office did about DHHL. It's called Broken Promises. For 100 years, we've promised the Hawaiians homesteads. After 100 years, we've got only about 10,000 homesteads. We've got 28,000 on the wait list. And now the last bill I want to give you a heads up on is that we have a sea level rise relocation bill. If you live on the ocean front and you drive a Tesla and you're a millionaire, we're going to relocate you because of sea level. But if you're a Hawaiian living on the beach, we say, hey, sorry, we can't help you. So that's one of the bills that I hope that constituents and those who are really not necessarily always following politics say, this is one of the most immoral, unjust, unfair bills that has reached the legislature.
I know that you were talking about a few bills. What are some bills that you would like to discuss that you either introduced or sponsored?
Well, we've got a couple of silly bills that are going through. Did you know we're trying to legalize jaywalking? Did you know we're trying to make it where if you're a motorcycle or a bicycle, you can run red lights between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m.? I hope some of you see this as, hey, what are we doing in this square building? Those things don't make any sense to me, quite frankly. But otherwise, we're in session, so people hold on to your wallet.
Do you have any last words to share or say to your constituents?
I would say thank you for being from Nanakuli High School. And for those at Kaiser High School, I hope there's a good football match that's coming up. May the best team win. Aloha.
Mahalo, Representative, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Jaylee Kanoy. I'm in the 11th grade attending Nanakuli High and Intermediate School. Today I'm here with Representative Elijah Pierrick from District 39. Aloha, Representative. Representative, what are your goals for this upcoming legislative session?
To advocate for the residents of District 39 by voting on cheaper electricity, voting on cheaper housing, helping out with the homeless, promoting the police so that we can have safer neighborhoods, and that is my priorities.
What are some issues in your community you have faced and how do you plan to address them?
We had a resident, so I went door to door throughout the 8,000 homes in my district, and one of the concerns was that the neighborhoods aren't safe enough. A guy pointed to his driveway and said, a guy was shot in my front yard. Can we have more safety? So I said, of course. So each time I've submitted a mailer to be distributed throughout the district, it includes a promotion of the police so that the police can keep us safe. We need to be promoting the police department as politicians, and we need to be funding them so that we can recruit more police officers to be on the beat to keep Waipahu safe.
I'm aware that this is your first session. Congratulations. What inspired you to become a leader?
I think to become a leader is based on the people that are following you, so that they'll give input saying, I think you're a leader, we're going to follow you. And then the reason for running for office would be because I feel like the Lord said, run for office. And then people reached out to me and said, hey, Elijah, you should run for office. So I said yes, and here we are.
Are there any bills that you would like to discuss or share about that you either introduced or sponsored?
Yes, so I introduced a bill to eliminate state income tax. I introduced a bill to eliminate corporate income tax, to eliminate inheritance tax. I think these are all taxes that are not good. We can get our taxes from GET or switch to sales tax like Florida. I've also introduced a bill to incentivize carpooling to decrease traffic. I've also introduced a bill to where a single person occupant can pay to be in the HOV lane so that they can get to where they need to go in the morning and in the afternoon faster. So these are some of the bills I've introduced.
Do you have any last words for your constituents you'd like to share?
Please be involved in the political process by submitting testimony on the bills. We have around 4 million residents in our state, and sometimes we'll have like 15 testimonies per bill. That's not an accurate representation of Hawaii when it comes to what the community wants on these bills.
Mahalo, Representative, and thank you for your time.
Mahalo for watching
Youth Capital Commentary.